ProHarvest seeds, we spend a lot of time talking about Cover 365. You know, as a farmer, as a good ProHarvest dealer, what does Cover 365 actually mean to you?
Keeping cover on the soil 365 days a year, whether that's a live root growing through the winter or just in fall after your cash crop, has matured. Then you have the residue from the cover crop in the spring, if it's a crop that you don't have to terminate. As far as planting goes, they need to treat it like a crop. It's a cover crop. You're putting money in it, you have an investment in it, so you want to manage it correctly. What goals? That's one of the first things I ask them. What are you wanting to accomplish? Where are you going? What are you wanting to do? And then manage the previous cash crop. Are you planning on drilling something in the fall? Are you looking to aerial apply it? 115-day corn that's 8 foot tall, you're not going to fly into that in the middle of August.
That's right.
So when you're sitting down after you get off the combine or in January, whenever a fella does his planning on what he wants to do the next year, if he's got a field he's even thinking about possibly trying cover crops on, go with earlier maturing crops on that, whether it's corn or beans. And
yeah, you bring up a good point. At ProHarvest, we do meetings in January, February, March, do cover crop meetings. And some people have asked, why are you doing those meetings that time of year when we're not even going to plant that cover crop till
that's
August?
When you have to think about it to plan ahead.
In 2012, we did have a drought here, and I know that affected a lot of your acres. And some of the acres that you had started with some cover crops on, I know that in 2013 you came back with some reduced fertility because of what we captured with the cover crops. Do you have any actual numbers and anything that can be shared? And I'm not holding you to hard, facts or anything, Dave. But
I used yield maps with removal tables. If you produce 50 bushel of corn, that should remove X amount of nutrients. That means X amount of nutrients are left out there. Assume that the cover crop scavenged 100% of those remaining nutrients, so I could use that figure and apply that much less for the following crop.
Yeah. That is a hard thing to do at this stage, and that's why I guess I know you've been pretty excited on your plot that we're pulling nutrient tests, starting the end of April and through May and June, and then on into the fall, we're going to pull on that and have an idea of just what type of scavenging ability we're getting.
And when the different species release them, how much do the different species or mixes scavenge, and what's the timing on the release? We need to be managing our own nutrients ourselves in an economic way, because eventually if we don't, the EPA is going to do it for us. And if we can do it economically with cover crops, that's a whole lot better than a bureaucrat behind a desk.
Do you see in the future where you will be applying nitrogen, A, at either different rates, or B, maybe different times of the year because of the cover crop?
Or both. All of the above. It's a constant learning curve, just as any aspect of agriculture is. 20 years ago, auto steer-on tractor, people would have laughed at you. Now, most of my neighbors plant with it. So there's constant learning curve to production ag.
Yeah. And
this is another tool in our toolbox that we need to learn how to utilize to our benefit.